Okay, this is John with Paradox Cars. What we have here is a 2000 Dodge Dakota Sport with the Magnum 3.9 liter V6 engine in it. I had issues the other day with my fuel pump. It seemed like it was going out. Went ahead and replaced the fuel pump. The next evening it stalled on me right in the middle of an intersection. So I finally got it started, changed out the relay. It did the same thing the next following morning, thinking that I possibly had a bad new fuel pump. So I went ahead and changed it out with another one. I still had the same problem. Didn't have any check engine lights or anything, so I went ahead and just started trying to diagnose it myself by just replacing some of the simple to get to electronic pieces, which you're going to have your map sensor right here. It goes in the front. Your throttle control positioning sensor right here on the side, and in the back underneath the breather here you're going to have your throttle valve. Thinking it was possibly one of those, and the computer wasn't picking it up. Went ahead and took off the throttle valve, control valve, and cleaned it up because it was as black as tar, thick, grungy. It all looked original equipment on here. Like it says, a 2000. So I went ahead and replaced that with a new one. Replaced the throttle positioning sensor and the map sensor. Now the map sensor was a aftermarket one, which you're going to want to be aware of. If it's something like this, I just highly recommend for the maps to go ahead and get original equipment for it. If you get an aftermarket, the harness isn't going to want to line up like I had a problem with, so I had to put the original one back on. And throttle positioning sensor, I went ahead and just put the original one back on too, because I had them all tested out and everything was fine. So that right there was pretty much something that I thought needed to be done. If a part goes out on it, I have new replacement parts for later on down the road for emergency purposes. Now I looked up on the forums and I could not find any information whatsoever. People always want to say it's this, it's that, it's that, or this. Well, I'm here to tell you I went through everything from the crank positioning sensor, fuel pump, relay, all the sensors that you see that I just described right here. I even changed out the injectors. I took the old injectors out because someone said that they had the same problem. It was just a bad injector, clogged injectors. Ran seafoam through this thing even. And what I was getting was it was stalling out. I'd start it up, it would idle up, and then when it idled back down, it would just want to drop below 700 to 500 RPMs and then just die out. As long as I kept my foot on the gas, cranking it over, it would start up. If I came to a stop sign, it would die on me. It was burning extremely rich. I could smell it. It was burning my eyes. I was about just to give up on this whole thing myself. So I went ahead and replaced the injectors, put in some good 4-hole Bosch in there. So overall, once I get it fixed, it should give me really good gas mileage. Everything's pretty much a real tune-up on this thing. Now, still having the issue, not having any check engine lights or anything like that. I went ahead and brought it to a mechanic, which I don't like doing because I've brought my vehicle into a mechanic just for a simple thing like I replaced the shocks on it. I had one bolt that was loose. I just asked him, hey, can you please just double check the bolts because I have a bad back. They put it up on the rack 4 hours later, told me it was a bad rack pinion, $700 job, blah blah blah. Went, got the part, had someone else replace it, still had the same noise. And then I ended up just having a friend fill down there as I was bouncing down on the truck, and sure enough, it was a loose bottom bolt after I replaced the shocks because my impact didn't have enough drive to drive that last bolt in all the way. So yeah, that's why I don't really like mechanics, but I took it down to a mechanic. and left it there for him. He was really honest. He called me back a few hours later and said, your truck's ready, come pick it up. And what he discovered was the very last thing. Now, I did notice one gentleman did point it out in one of the threads, but I didn't pay too much attention to it because of all the chitter chatter that was going on about all the maps and all the other sensors. But it is the temperature, engine coolant temperature sensor that goes right here on the top, right behind the alternator, right behind this smaller hose that's right next to the larger hose, where your coolant goes in at. And what had happened is that I bought this truck used, let's say about 8 months ago, and it was going through coolant. So I went ahead and checked it out, and the problem was that these hose clamps that they have, they're pretty cruddy hose clamps. It didn't have a good enough bite, so the coolant was leaking out here on this main one going in, and it was just collecting all up on top of this intake. Well, I readjusted the clamp on there a little bit, because if you're going to replace the clamp, you're going to want to go ahead and replace the whole hose. Just an FYI, if there's anything you have to remove on these trucks that you don't have to move, don't move them. I had a friend helping me, thought it would be a great idea to take this little gizmo off the back here, and when he did, he broke a vacuum line, as you can see down there, possibly. That's the only broken line right below the line going into those two coolant lines going in there, as you can see. So he broke that, didn't know what it went to. Well, it controls my defrost, floor, and dash control for my air and all that. So now I got to trace that down a later part to try to get that fixed, but I'm not too concerned about that. So everything on these trucks is going to be extremely brittle. Hoses, vacuum lines, just everything. So just be really careful. Like I said, if you don't have to remove something because it's got a bunch of lines hooked up or wire connectors, don't do it. Just be on the safe side, leave it alone, and be very careful. But anyway, so the coolant leak caused all of that. Now what you see here is extremely cleaned up. I've used a screwdriver and a air nozzle from my compressor to just blow out everything, because I didn't want to get a lot of moisture down in there. But here's the part I got to replace right here. Yeah, it looks like a regular bolt that goes in, but actually I can feel the hole right there with the connector, the sensor, and everything. Let's see if I can get a better angle right here. Now that's what I have to replace, just because all that coolant junk and dirt and everything else just seeped into the connector, which you can see what it did right here. This is what's supposed to, which I'm going to have to go ahead and replace that connector as well. So hopefully I can go get one at the parts store and just rewire it, and we're all good. But he kind of rigged it up temporarily just to do a test on it. It ran great. I have no doubt in his quality of work. He told me what to do because he knows I'm going to fix it myself. So basically I'm going to bring it to him if I have any other issues, just to have him troubleshoot it. It's worth you know, $50 or so to have him troubleshoot it, because I've already got in with, you consider all the sensors and fuel pump and all this and time and everything, I got close to about $1,000 in this thing already, just whenever it was an actual $20 part. But like I said, this is my truck. I like it. I'm fixing it up. It's my project. And I just want to get it fixed and get it running good. And that's what I'm doing. So, if you have this problem where it's wanting to die out on you and you've gone, not getting any check engine lights or anything, check your coolant sensor that goes on the intake. Chances are, like I said, these things are notorious for leaking around these hose connections up here for your coolant. You know, it's just bad. Like I said, once they get old, you think that engine gets really hot, and that's plastic down there. So if you're getting coolant slapped on there and everything else, the heat of the engine and so forth, they're not going to last that long. And go ahead, if you're fixing these trucks up like that, if you have a part to where you can get for the lifetime warranty on it, go ahead and spend the extra $5 or $6. You're gonna be really glad that you did, just in case. And note also that if you change out a part and you're still getting the same issue, there's a slight possibility, unless it is original equipment, that new part can actually be defective. I ran into that several times before. So instead of jumping from one thing to the other and just replacing, go ahead and take that part back and just, you know, see if by chance that you got a defective part. And you know, you do that a couple times and you'll probably get the right part, and then you can just go from there. So anyways, that's my take on the stalling out issue. So now I got new fuel pump, new injectors, new pretty much everything. And I hope this helps out whoever runs into the same problem, because I know you don't like getting taken to the cleaners by mechanics. So hopefully this, like I said, is a $20 part at O'Reilly's. Everything else I got at O'Reilly's as well, except for the injectors. Got those off of eBay. Really great deal on that, and they needed them anyway, so hey, it's like a tune-up that the truck needed anyways. So I hope this helps you out, and if you have any questions or thoughts, or you know, just put down in the comments section, and if there's something else I can help you with, I'll see what I can do. All right, thanks again. Bye.